Also, if I saw something like that, I would assume I was being nuked. I'm just gonna say.
Also, like,
Pulling it
imagine
up
people
right
seeing
now.
a meteorite like 500 years ago and be like, "Yep,
Oh, damn.
God's
World
pretty
is
pissed."
ending.
There's like a bright teal color.
Yeah, it's very bright.
That's why women couldn't vote for so long, is because a bunch of people gave women the right to vote in ancient times, and then a meteorite came over and they're like, nope, strike that from the record. That never happened.
We made a mistake.
Boy, it is funny seeing all these people flip out over this. What the government doesn't want you to know. Not okay.
You're right.
Sure.
Whatever,
buddy. You
dude.
figured
Chill
it
out.
Good
Well,
job.
Honestly, if I saw that, I would assume I was being nuked because I live right next to a nuclear power plant. So,
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
to say we are a primary target is a problem in our tiny little
It's true.
podunk town.
That's why I live in my tiny little podunk town, where we're just next to fresh water.
That's right. Oh man.
People want the resources.
Yeah, knock out the power grid.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It still scares me every January when I get a new "This is the danger zone" map. Every January.
Or you get
Like,
like a Fallout map kind of thing in case
yep,
this explodes.
Go this direction, and if you hear these sirens and these noises and get this alerts on your phone, go this direction.
Get
These
out
are
of
the
there.
designated safety areas.
Oh,
Like, okay, thanks.
You know, it's funny too because like when done correctly with the correct amount of safety precautions, nuclear energy is not
super efficient.
yeah, it's efficient and it's not unstable, and the likelihood of that plant blowing up is very, very, very unlikely.
Yeah.
But all
problem
anyone ever
is-
thinks about is Chernobyl.
Right.
But the problem, the reason people think that is because of the whole thing behind it is it's done by capitalists.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
If the army has taught us anything, is that they will do the most they can for the cheapest they can.
Right.
Oh, yeah. And that's not to say that Chernobyl isn't a good cautionary tale of, hey,
for
this
sure.
is what happens when you cut corners and don't pay the fuck attention. Where now we have a section of Earth that we can't use for, what, thousands of years?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was, but also it's made some pretty good media.
That's true. That's some dope TV shows,
talking
man.
I was talking about like the Stalker books and the Stalker video games and stuff like that.
Right.
And, we're now at a point where it's like people can go there for like an hour at a time
Oh, all
before
right.
they start. I think it's an hour.
Before they
Yeah,
start
so-
It's
feeling
not
weird.
a whole lot of time, but
Right.
yeah.
So I did see the best thing ever, which was when you care about the clout more than death,
Mhm.
and it was a bunch of very clearly fucking Instagram influencers or whatever, like sitting in the arms of a big crane,
Mhm.
and right in front of the big crane was a radiation sign.
Oh, jeez.
Like,
Good
what
luck,
the
buddies.
fuck, dudes?
Yeah, your death is not gonna be painless.
Right. It's gonna hurt the
That's
whole
not
time.
a threat. Yeah, it's like morphine doesn't do anything against radiation sickness.
Right.
Like that's a whole other level of pain and fucked up.
Yeah. All right. On that note, are you guys ready to get started?
I mean, yeah.
Sure. I've only got one game to talk about this week because my life has been a disaster piece.
Every
Slipknot
moment
song.
alive is just more pain and fucked upness.
That's right.
100%, dude.
All right,
That's-
now that we got the
It-
darkness
it's-
out of the
That's
way.
that's how this section of the Outcast is going to end. By the way.
Yeah.
This is the problem with like being a nihilist with an optimist hidden inside.
Mhm.
Is I'm just like, fuck everything, but please be better. Fuck you all,
That's
but
right.
please be
Right.
better.
I have one more thing that keeps this on track, and then I'm done.
Mhm.
I just got to a point in One Piece because I'm on episode like 350 something.
Now I know why you're saying that. Is because you're watching One Piece. Jesus.
Well, no,
Christ.
that's just in general. But I did just happen to hit hit the episode where one of the villains has the ability to send ghosts out, and when the ghosts touch you, it just puts you in the most negative, dark place ever.
Mhm.
And one of the ghosts touches Usopp, and it does absolutely nothing because he is in a constant state of absolute negativity.
That's great.
And I was like, God damn, that is fucking dark.
That's rough, bro.
So he has access to the internet in 2024. Got it.
Yeah.
That's right. Right. All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast, aka TVGP. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpeer.
Hello.
And the Nimp.
Hello.
Let's go put a quick plug here for patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
You want a super wild outcast this week. You got it. We're covering a ton of topics. And that's our weekly show where we're talking about everything except for video games. We also do talk about some pretty bad JRPGs in there too, so if you want to hear the real bad ones, we saved the rough ones for you there.
They were so bad, neither one of us committed them to memory, and it took
a
while to get there.
We had to think of it. We did remember the title Infinite Undiscovery, but not the actual game we were thinking of. So that goes out every week. Don't forget the $5 tier is the recommended one. That gets you everything, and that gets you early access to We Roguelike It and Critical Misses, gets exclusive access to the Critical Misses production meeting, gets you exclusive access to The Wayward Sons, which is a supernatural TV show watchcast that Moon and the Nipper are going through, gets you everything. And don't forget, if you have a super rich friend, tell them it's like $5,000 a week, and that would help the show a whole lot. And then have them buy a billboard and have more people listen to it. Yeah. But you can get all of that over at patreon.com/E1M1.
Ones and the numbers.
Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
Nothing, basically. I had a long week of it's cold / cold / here I have a migraine. And external activities, which are not the most fun, we'll say, for me personally.
Outside of the house things, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. The second I have to leave my home to not go to work is a nightmare day for me.
Yep.
Your car is like the umbilical cord for your house. It's like the moment you leave your car and it's not work or home, it's going to be a bad day.
100%.
Unless it's something fun that you pre-planned.
I mean, everything was pre-planned this week, and it was still a nightmare. Even then, going to work is not going to be a fun day. So,
That's true.
I just don't like leaving. I'd like my cozy indoors, except for when it's 90 degrees in the house. Anyway, moving on. Stupid summer. I didn't play anything except for Lies of P. Pretty much the only thing I have played so far. And I'm getting to the end now. I know I'm getting to the end. 100% I'm aware I'm getting to the end.
Is this your second run through still, or are you on your third now?
So it was my second. Now it's my third.
Okay.
So I've only got one achievement left.
I'm so close.
Is it just one of the ending ones?
No, it's the stupid special weapon. I need to get stupid Pinocchio's.
You didn't get the nose?
Yeah. Because I didn't get that in my first playthrough, and then to get the other ending, you need to do the ending that doesn't give you the nose. Mm-hmm. So I'm now on my third playthrough.
Goodness.
Because I am an idiot. I did start having some interesting thoughts about this. So I did make a fair few notes, just some random stuff I want to go over. Playthrough the second so the first New Game Plus you do, it does give you the 6th tier on the P organ. Like you said, there is a 7th tier, which you get for New Game Plus Plus. There is nothing further than that. I looked. The reason I looked is because I'm just inserting quotes into my P organ left and right and center. I'm going to veto that for a show title now.
Not even looking at my notebook.
I didn't write it.
It's the 7th tier kind of breaks the game.
Okay.
God, I hope so. I just know it exists. I haven't looked at anything for it.
I'm gonna break it down for you right now, friend.
All right.
So you get 4 new permanent, essentially passives for doing you get 4 big passives, and then you get 4, 8, 12, 16 mini passives for basically each quartz that you slot in. So the 4 big ones that you get is you get lightweight, which reduces your percentage needed for your weight limits. Cool. So very much like other Souls games, it has light, heavy, overweight, all that kind of stuff. I don't know if there's a fat roll in this game because I've never hit the point where you do a fat roll.
There is, yeah.
Good to know. When you get the lightweight, it shifts everything by 20%. So right now, to be considered quote unquote heavy, you need to be at like 100% on that like percentage measurement.
Okay.
That puts you as heavy. And when you get the lightweight, it shifts them all 20% in the other direction. So I'm at like 56% right now, and I'm light. So I am getting super fast stamina regen, super fast like rolls and movements, and your weapon durability is affected by your weight. So it like your weapons don't run out as quickly, they don't need to be sharpened as much, all that kind of stuff. Like that's a big buff for this game. You get another third Legion arm slot. So if you want to, you can roll around with 3 different Legion arms. That's the metal arm that he has on the left that does a bunch of different things depending on which one you have equipped. It allows you to equip a 5th ring. So I'm walking around right now like Puppet Thanos, just like clenching my fist and like clicking my fingers and watching people go away. So the one I'm rocking around with right now is with the boss souls in this game. You have 2 options. You can get a weapon or you can get a ring for every single boss soul.
Okay.
Some of those rings are insane.
But they
one of the ones you get
a ton to equip.
They do. Yeah. They do. Right? Luckily, my capacity is at 78 out of 100 points right now.
You should be good now, so you could probably equip all of them and not feel it. But I think for an example, normally your accessories are like anywhere from like 2 to 3 pounds. Mm-hmm. Boss accessories are anywhere from like 15 to 20. You know, so
it gets heavy quickly. But like one of them I've got increases my damage based on how many can't remember what it's called now. The blue bar, the special
your fables.
Blue bar. Yes, your fable art slots. The more slots you have, they don't have to be full, they just have to be slots, but the more of those you have, the more damage you do. I now have 5. So I get a significant damage increase from that. So I have that one equipped at the moment, and whenever I go into a new boss, I equip the Champion's Amulet, because with the Champion's Amulet, every time you hit an attack, it increases your attack, and it stacks up to like 6 times. So if you're consistently attacking, then you get consistently damage buffed, and therefore you do more damage, and bosses are easier. To give you an idea, Nimp, I'm currently at the Lightning Knight again, in the cathedral at the end, essentially, like that castle at the end. I'm back at the Lightning Knight after 4.5 hours since I last hit New Game Plus.
That sword is so cool, and it's so disappointing that we don't get it.
I mean, it is, but also at the same time, the one you do get is pretty cool. You get the ring one from her, right?
Yep.
Which is a pretty cool sword. Like it really is. I did switch to the Puppet Ripper just to experiment a little bit. That thing is insane. It's the scythe, and when you do a charged attack, the scythe detaches and it like becomes like a whip essentially.
Oh jeez,
insane. Mm-hmm. But the final thing in that tier 7 thing, you'll like this, Nimp. You can regularly block fury attacks.
That is very helpful.
So fury attacks, Boston, is the thing we've talked about previously, where when they glow red, you can't block it unless you do a perfect parry.
Oh, okay.
And this thing means that if you just hold block, it just acts like a normal block.
Oh, so you don't have to do a perfect block anymore?
No, it does the guard damage where it reduces your health, but it gives you a refillable bar. So if you attack, you regain that health.
Jeez.
But you can literally just hold block and the fury attacks don't hit you. Like they will do the normal chip damage kind of thing.
That's like wild.
That's going to make a couple of those bosses easier.
It's literally a game breaker. Like part of your whole system is designed around this, and you've changed it to allow me to just regularly block stuff. It's like, okay, cool, I guess.
But like that's
fine.
what I
I'm
want.
Fine with that.
Like New Game plus to be like, I've put in the time here and kind of broken open the game. I want to be a little overpowered at this point.
Mm-hmm. That's why I get bored with Souls games after a while, because you don't ever get that. I mean, you can always cheese them, but it doesn't feel the same.
Yeah. It's one of those things, like, I'm literally at the point now where I think I've got like 2-3 more lies to do, and I should have enough lies. And I got the cutscene again where my hair changed color, so I know I'm at the appropriate humanity level. Just a little bit more to do, and I'll be set.
Nice.
Then I can get that stupid nose and then never play this stupid game ever again until November, when the DLC has already been announced.
Oh, right.
I think when I got the nose on my first run, I think I got all the way up to the puppet and was able to go back to the hotel, and then was able to get it. Because I had all the guides that I was reading was pretty much talking about before you eat, what is it, 2 bosses before that, you should be able to get that weapon. And I couldn't yet. And I was like, oh man, did I screw this up? And yeah, before I did the puppet for the final time, I went and checked. It's like, all right, cool, it's there, it's mine.
I'm good.
Yeah. So I just did the thing where I freed a certain person. And that is the thing that gives you the cutscene that changes your hair. And then hopefully I've just got to do a little bit more, and then hopefully I can get to where I need to be. I know the game is great. I've enjoyed playing the game, and it's been very good to like not do the stupid thing of taking a break and like losing everything with it. It's allowed me to actually just sit down and focus. And yeah, I'm not playing other things because of it, but also at the same time, I don't have time right now to really dedicate to 17 different games.
Right.
And you're still enjoying it, so who cares?
Yeah, enjoying it / being extremely frustrated by it. You know, tomato.
Yeah. Right. The pain comes with the love.
So, I one-shotted the first and the second Black Brotherhood fights, Nimp, in this playthrough. The clown still killed me twice.
Still messes you up, yeah.
I hate that stupid clown so much.
This is the clown that we were talking about last time, who's not even a boss. I don't even think he's a mid-boss. He's a regular, he's like a regular enemy at some point, but
it's so annoying. He's so unpredictable is the main thing about him. He's just so bad. I mean, obviously I'll probably have one more final closing notes on it. I think so. I don't know how I feel about the quote-unquote message of this game. I might be reading too much into it. I might not be. But the whole thing of like the puppet frenzy is essentially the working class uprising. But the problem with that is the cops are also in the puppets, so the cops are also helping the working class in the uprising, which is just like, yeah, that wouldn't happen. But also the regular humans get infected with the disease, which makes them go crazy. It's like, I don't know. There's a lot of like class structure, like commentary going on in here, and what is it to be a human, what is it not to be a human. Ironically enough, the place in the video that you're playing right now, Boston, that is the place where the DLC is probably going to be, because there's a stargazer there that you cannot use.
Oh, okay.
So that's probably going to be the launching point for the DLC.
Wait,
I don't know.
Did they just say fall for the DLC?
Yeah, I think it's November is being mentioned in passing, based on the feeds I'm getting.
Because I think once I get done with Stellar Blade, I might have to jump back into Lies of P.
So, the biggest thing I have is the DLC going to be more about Pinocchio, or because I don't want them to do that ending teaser. I don't want them to do that as a DLC. I want that to be a whole different game.
Yeah.
Because I think that deserves its own game. Like, Souls-like based in that location would be chef's kiss, incredible kind of situation. I don't know. Like, I like a lot of the game. I think there's some story elements that do add up, don't add up. Or like, I think I've said it before. Like, I think the game is beautiful. I think it looks fantastic. I hate the fact that they literally go to Dark Souls 101 design for the very end of the game. Like, come on, like you could have done any other setting, but you went with the stupid castle. Like, okay, sure, I guess.
Here's Anne Orlando again. All right.
Pretty much, yeah. And like the first time you get there is kind of interesting, but after that, like you don't even get like big long shots of it. At the very start of the game, you see the hotel Hotel Crate, where you basically that's your home base. You see that as you round a corner, and it's up on the top of a cliff, and like you're directed to look at it and admire it as like your home base. Whereas this thing is like run along this beach that you've got zero visibility in, and then go through a door. Like you don't get a big outwards view of what you're going at. It's just a bunch of stone corridors and stuff like that.
Dude, and that gimmick boss, screw that gimmick boss.
The Door Guardian, yes. The Door Guardian sucks. He is probably my least favorite boss in the game. He's not even hard. He's just annoying.
No, it's just you have to figure out what the weakness is, and it's the most not obvious thing ever. Like I banged my head on that thing several times before I kind of think I figured it out, but
he sucks. The Door Guardian is terrible. I don't know. I don't think enough people are giving this game props for its music. I will say that right off the bat. Like,
so much good music.
It's so good. Like if you, even if you're not interested in playing the game, just like get the soundtrack on YouTube. Like listen to it a couple of times.
It's really good.
It's a really interesting mix of like classical style music mixed with like vocal arias and stuff like that. And it does the Final Fantasy thing of it gives you big music hits when bosses hit. And it's the same kind of vibe where it's like big orchestra performances with like a really solid vocalist in there. Don't get me wrong, it's not Metal Gear Rising levels of amazing, but
what else really is
great.
Though?
It is one of the few games that I've thought about buying a vinyl version of the soundtrack because they try to imitate vinyl sound in the game.
I mean, that's the records in the game as well. Like that's the one of the collectibles is vinyls, like that you stick on a record player and you can listen to them at the hotel. And minor spoiler alert: listening to the records gives you humanity. Just so you know.
Ah, that's fun.
I love the game. It's been really great. Really enjoyable, really fun story. The things you learn about who you are complicated, we'll say. It does a very Dark Souls thing where there's a lot of things you have to learn by reading some of the items and talking to particular people at particular times. My third playthrough was the first playthrough I got where I went to the hotel and talked to a specific person after a certain boss fight and got the long black hair instead of the short black hair. And I was like, wait, what's this about? And it turns out it's a big story beat as to explaining you as a character. I don't know. Lies of P is really good. I still always want to call it Lies of Pi because I have a problem separating the letter P from the mathematical number. But Lies of
mathematics, that's what we're going through.
Yeah, Lies of 3.14 does not have quite the same ring to it, you know?
I mean, it could. HD remake, DLC.
Yeah.
Just pull a near. Revision article 3.5792.
20 numbers.
Hey, do a Snyder cut trick and just put it in 3.14 aspect ratio.
There you go. Perfect.
But yes, that's all. That's all I've been playing. Nymph, take her away.
All right, yeah. My week has also been very thin. I did play a little bit of Helldivers, but not a whole lot to really do anything with. I played a little bit of Stellar Blade. I am in the Great Desert now. That's about as far as I got with that game. I am still rocking the bear mascot costume just because it is the dumbest thing in this game for me right now, and it just makes me so happy. So, the game I'm going to talk about, which maybe will transfer over to Boston, is I did play Little Kitty Big City.
Oh, yeah.
Literally an hour before we started recording. So.
Yeah, I didn't have enough time to play that this week.
Okay.
But yeah, that game's great.
I am, so... And let me pull... All right. I've talked to the mayor, who is a cat, who has really big issues with jam jars, and you are then given the objective to knock over all the jam jars in the store. I completed that, and then I noticed, oh, the store owner does not seem very happy with me, and I was up on top of a shelf, and the store owner disappears into the back room, grabs a broom, and then starts walking towards me. I'm like, oh, is it going to start, like, batting at me while I'm up here?
I gotta go.
No, they were attempting to clean up. And I was like, all right, cool. So I go to walk out of the store, and that's when the store owner, when I got to ground level, made a beeline for me and grabbed me. And then they walked me out of the store, and then I got an achievement for being walked out of the store for being disrespectful.
Right.
And so I got my fun little emote. I think it was like a fury face or something emote that I got from the mayor for knocking over all those jars.
Oh, you get the like cat stink face, the like
something,
like,
yeah,
like loud smells face, yeah.
Yep. I found all 25 of the shinies that I needed for the crow, for them to give me a fish, and then I got the fish, and then I had a paw of stamina, which doesn't get me a whole lot, but it gets you enough into the next area. But before I did that, started walking around the area that I was in, met up with the orange cat, who tells you about the bread proposition for catching little birds. And the bread proposition is you can trip up humans, which I have been doing before this by accident, thought it was funny and kept doing it, and they can drop bread. And then you can pick up the bread and you can put it down somewhere, and little birds will come up to it, and then you can get behind them and then, you know, crawl behind them and then pounce on them. And this will give you feathers. I think the feathers go to the raccoon that I found later, but I'm not sure. I have like a couple of them, but I haven't talked to the raccoon again since I started getting them, so I don't know what all this does yet. But from the raccoon, who I had to pull out of a trash can so that way he would stop being stuck, from there, I then found a chameleon randomly, who considers himself a magician for being able to disappear. He was not disappeared at all. He was just a chameleon on the wall.
Yeah, he's just like a regular green chameleon. He's like, you can't see me, haha.
And so he pretty much chalks it up to your weird eyes are the reason why you can see him.
Your special
not the
eyes.
fact, not the fact that he was not camouflaged at all. So, so I found him. I was given a whole thing, like a little clue about where to find him next. I was like, all right, cool. I'll do that at some point. But then I found a duck at a shrine who lost all of the other little ducklings. And then the duck gave me a map. They're like, hey, can you help find them, bring them back to me? Like, all right, cool. They do not want you, the duck doesn't want you to just drop off the little ducklings. So now I have a trail of ducklings following me because they want me to get all of them, then bring them all back. So, all right, that's fine, whatever. The first one was in a arcade store or room, whatever. And it was just sitting at one of the arcades watching basically a duck version of Street Fighter 2.
Great.
And your objective is you had to get that machine to lose power because the duck said it's going to sit here and just watch this. And until it stops, it's not going to leave. So it's like, okay. So you climb up, you do some stuff. I'm not going to ruin any of the puzzles or anything, but you do some stuff. You block out the power. The little duckling comes and finds you and basically says, oh, man, the walls just keep moving. And all I see are like these purple triangles everywhere. Is it supposed to look like this? And your cat's kind of like, no, I think, no, you shouldn't be looking at screens like that. So the next one, I found in a supermarket or a little convenience market thing. And it's sitting in a puddle and it's sitting there playing. And it's like, oh, I found my own pond. And I'm never going to leave because this is all for me. And since you're a cat, you don't like water, you can't get me. I solved that puzzle, which was pretty simple. Got the other duck. And then I noticed, oh, hey, there's a fish up on this little chilling cabinet thing. So I jumped up there and ate the fish. And now I have a second paw of stamina. And that did not make the worker happy. So the worker grabbed me before I could jump off the shelf. And that worker ran fast. Like, it almost scared me, kind of.
Yeah, they move pretty quick.
They don't hurt you or anything. But yeah, I think I was in mid-flight, and that thing grabbed me and then walked me out of the store. And I was like, okay, cool. So then I just continue on my merry little adventure. Right now, I'm looking for a yellow bird that wants to fight a boss cat. Have nowhere to look for that one yet, so I'm still just wandering around grabbing shinies, pouncing on birds. But I did find a couple nap locations. But the game says there's like 7 of them in there, and one of them was in a store that had a copy machine, and you sit on top of the bed copier, and it scans you while you're sleeping. So now you have like your little bean tone scanned on this piece of paper that's just a scan of underneath the cat.
That's great.
And I got my little achievement tracker for that. So it's been fun. I like how they use water as a means to prevent you from getting to places.
Yeah.
And there's this whole, I just discovered the lore behind this from talking to a different cat, was that there are no cars or anything on the roads right now because of all the water main has broken. So that's why there's water everywhere, and that's why there's not cars anywhere on the streets right now in this little part of the city.
Right.
Like, all right, cool. You kind of bringing it around. That's fine. But I have a ton of shiny things. I think I got like 60 of them. And I'm assuming at some point I'm going to find the crow again to give them stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think I could talk to the crow again, and I don't remember what they gave me.
Yeah.
Maybe hats?
I assume I'm going to get something for it. But at this point, the last hat that I found was a butterfly hat.
Okay.
And all it is a blue little butterfly that just sits on your head. And it looks like a butterfly just landed on your head. And it will just randomly flap its wings every once in a while. And that's what I'm using right now.
That's great.
So I am enjoying how just calm this game is.
Yeah.
Like I said, the most threatening thing is the shop owners coming after you for knocking stuff over, and all they do is just pick you up and walk you out of the store.
Yeah.
It's like there's no real fail-safe. I know my daughter started playing it this week as well. She had an issue. I'm trying to remember. She had an issue with one of the beginning puzzles. Like she just couldn't understand the concept of what the game wanted her to do at first. So my wife kind of helped her with it a little bit. And once she got past that, she was fine with everything else so far.
Nice.
But she just absolutely loves making the cat do crazy things and nap and knock stuff over. Yeah. So yeah, it's a very enjoyable game. I think we said last week it's like a 3-hour long game.
It's pretty short. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's on Game Pass. That's where I'm playing it on Xbox. So Little Kitty Big City. It is a very enjoyable Blue Sky game.
Yep.
Yeah, it's next on my list.
Mm-hmm. That's all I've been playing.
Oh,
Austin?
Okay.
Like I said, mine's going to be short.
Yeah, mine are too. I got a couple of quick hits here at the beginning. Spend most of the week playing Pacific Drive. Reminder that we have one more week of that before we do the gameplay recording. So you want to play with us, you can play with us. I have played some more Balatro because the new patch came out on consoles this week. 1.0.1 kind of rebalances the entire game in a largely positive way. I think coming out of this patch, the game I think will be largely easier. It's not a huge swing where it's markedly easier for the entire time, but I think it's easier to get more runs into a better spot, which I think is overall positive for the game. I think some of the biggest changes are when you're going to pick your blind, your small blind, big blind, or that you can skip. Previously, they would have if you skip this blind and on a rare joker will be in the shop, or a negative one, or polychrome, or whatever. Before that would happen, but you'd have to buy the card in the shop when it came up. Now, if you skip it, if you skip one and it says there will be a polychrome joker in the shop, that card will be free. So you'll be able to you get some benefit for skipping, because the biggest thing before was I'll have a polychrome joker in the shop, but that doesn't matter because I don't have $10 to $15 to buy it. So why would I skip anything?
That was always one of my issues at the start of that game. At the start of the lower blind, or the lower antes, I should say. Always my issue. I got $4. Great.
I can't do anything with it. And now the first shop will have a buffoon pack guaranteed in it, which I think is only $3 or $4 in your first shop. So it's that kind of stuff where it's it doesn't make the game remarkably easier, but it's a lot of stuff to just make it a little bit smoother, especially for new players to kind of get those first couple of wins a lot more easily. So I think that's really great. I really like the approach that the developer Local Thunk is taking, where it's sort of you see these developers all the time that are like a little too precious about how their game is, which I understand and I can appreciate that that approach to it, but I like that he's taking the approach of just sort of like, all right, these are what players are saying, and he can kind of step back a little bit and look at the game and say, all right, maybe that isn't the right thing. Maybe it can make things a little bit smoother for players. So that's Balatro is still great. Still playing it here and there. Love it. Played a little bit more Slice and Dice this week. Like I've been saying, like at night, I read a bunch and I play some Slice and Dice at the end of the day to kind of wind down. I did win a run with the house cat this week, sort of accidentally. I was playing a run. It's Generate run, I think. No, it's the Choose Your Party run. And I was just hitting the random button, and it came up with a pretty okay party with the house cat in it. And I said, all right, let's just try one. The crazy thing about the house cat in this game, though, is it can't ever level up. So it just kind of stays what it is for the entire game, which was fine. It spent a lot of my run not being in the party because it was dead, but I did get a great item at some point that I posted in the Discord. It was an item that replaced all of your blank sides of your die with a, what was it, like plus 10 cleanse, so it'll heal 10 HP for a party member. Will also cleanse them of stuff like poison, and you can use it 4 times in a row. So I put that on the house cat because it basically had 3 or 4 blank sides, I think it was. I was like, all right, now you're just kind of the heal bot. You can heal up basically the entire party every single time that you have that land, and chances are pretty good you're going to have that land. So that was pretty fun. I had a good time with that. But a lot of that is just me kind of like playing random runs and having a good time. So,
it's so replayable.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievably replayable. And the fact that it's on your phone as well, it's just... I had to hide it. I had to put it in a games folder. Like,
yeah, it's got to go on a different screen. Yeah. Yeah. Nimp, it looked like you were going to ask a question.
Oh, no, I was just listening.
Yeah, so again, highly recommend Slice and Dice, especially on phones. It works super well, especially with the 2 different modes, whether you're horizontal or vertical. It's really great. Okay, 2 final games here. First up, Animal Well. Spoke really highly about this last week. I have finished Animal Well at this point. I finished it in just a little over 6 hours. And only had to look up one thing, like how to get through one screen, and it's I had one of those forehead slapping moments because I couldn't figure out how to get through this area, and I did the thing I needed to do to get down to this area. I just needed to repeat that to get through this other screen. It was just like, oh, of course, like the very thing I was doing to get here, I just needed to do to get to the next area. So,
yeah.
That was a little bit
long.
Yeah, like that was a little bit frustrating, but not in a bad way. It's just like, of course, that's how it goes. Okay, so I really, really love Animal Well. But I especially love it, and I'm really trying not to spoil anything here. This really reminds me of Fez and The Witness, where you finish the game and then
something happens.
The game starts. Because it's really easy to get all 4 flames, which is kind of your overall objective from when you start the game. It's really easy to get all of those, take care of the final boss, and watch the credits and then kind of get some new stuff that all of a sudden kind of cracks the entire game open in a way that if you have gotten to that point in something like Fez or The Witness or Tunic, where you're kind of like, oh, there's other stuff in this game. Like, it's not just this game I've played. There's more stuff kind of everywhere. That's pretty wild. So that's kind of where I'm at in the game now, where I've gotten a bunch of new items that let me do extra things. I am going through and trying to collect all of the eggs, which is something you run into kind of naturally when you're playing the game through your first playthrough. A lot of times it's one of those things I love in games like this where you're like, that wall looks really weird. Like, why does that wall look different? And you kind of jump at it and you go through it to a secret room and there's a chest with an egg in there. So I'm going through and collecting a whole bunch of that stuff. And I appreciate that the way that this game is introducing these things has been really fun and feels really natural. I have broken out a notebook for it because, of course, that's the point where we're at now with this game of just like, yeah, okay, hold on, I got to take notes on this stuff. I gotta make sure I focus on all this stuff. So that's been kind of fun because it's been a while since I've played something like that where you have to really start puzzling out something larger. I don't really want to talk too much more about it. Oh, go ahead.
Is the larger puzzle to the degree of Fez? I don't have any experience with The Witness, having never played it, but is it to the degree of Fez where the fox jumps over the lazy dog kind of
yes.
thing?
Yeah.
Great.
I feel like it's much more... The thing that I respect about Animal Well is I feel like they learned the lesson from Fez, which is sort of like, you need to make... How do I talk about this? You need to make the layers of puzzles more obvious, but maybe more extensive. Like, I feel like Animal Well does a better job than I thought Fez did, because Fez was sort of like, all right, you finished the game, good luck. But when you look at the internet and you look at what people are saying, they're like, oh, this thing and the language and the directions and, you know, all the extra stuff. But I think Animal Well does a really great job of, I think you sort of see it as you're going through your first playthrough of, here's all this extra stuff, but maybe you can't get to it. And I think it's a lot more explicit when you finish the game of saying like, all right, here is a tool, or here are some directions to figuring out how to get to this second layer of puzzles. So I as much as I love Fez, a lot of the stuff in that game is sort of like, how was I supposed to figure this out? I'm not sure how the internet got there. And I think Animal Well is a lot better about, like, I wish I could talk about one of the tools I got, but essentially it's helping you see some of that hidden stuff in a pretty explicit way. So, like, I'm going back through the game kind of screen by screen and looking for more of that hidden stuff with the additional tools that the game has given me. And I'm finding a whole ton of stuff that I've gotten that enables me to unlock a bunch of extra stuff all throughout the game in a way that feels that I'm excited about. Like, I think if you hear that, you could be like, oh, yeah, that sounds really great. Let's go back through the game. Whoopity-doo. But I do feel like I'm breaking open each and every one of these rooms in this game and finding cool new stuff to discover in each and every one of them. And that, I feel like that's pretty fun overall. I don't know how much more I want to talk about it yet, because I really don't.
Save it for Game of the Year. Save it for Game of the Year.
Yeah, and I really don't want to spoil it, because I've seen some stuff about how many layers there are in this game. And I'm excited to kind of continue to peel this game open in a way that I think is really fun. In the same way that I really enjoyed kind of finding all this stuff in Tunic. Playing through Tunic, you're like once you learn more stuff, you're kind of giving the squinty eyes of the game. You're like, what's up with this room? What's going on here? I don't know about this thing. So I'm excited to
start working on like the Golden Path stuff.
Right. Like that's the kind of stuff that I'm starting to work on in Animal Well. Is that kind of like additional layer of game here. So Animal Well continues to be really great. I still really recommend it. I think even if you just play through the kind of the base game by itself and get the regular ending after, X number of hours, I feel like if you're in the mood for a puzzle thing, you might still have a really great time. But I'd encourage you to kind of stick with the game just a little bit longer, maybe like an hour or so longer after that, to kind of see what the rest of the game has in store. Because I think if you don't enjoy it at that point, I totally understand. But I think for me, that's where kind of the fun puzzle nature of it comes from. In my last game this week, another puzzle game, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. I bought that this week. I bought this on the Switch because
every time you say the name of this game, it just makes me think of Supernatural. That's all I'm going to say. Patreon listeners will understand soon.
That's right. Go check out the Wayward Sons. I bought this because I saw that the developers had made this with the Switch as the primary platform. And people were like, yeah, it runs 60 frames, no real problems on the Switch. It's like, okay, perfect. I will do that. I can verify that's the case. Also, it's not a very big game kind of overall. So I'm not surprised it runs really well. But I'm really, really enjoying this game at the beginning. It's kind of a puzzle game that has Killer 7 vibes, that kind of very stark black and white, very heavily shaded sort of style to it. And I can't overstate this. So much of this game, literally everything you're running into in this game is a puzzle so far. Like, the beginning of this game is like, hey, you should really play this with headphones on. You should really play this with a notebook. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's what they all say. And then probably about 5 minutes into it, I'm like, okay, let's grab my notebook that I'm using for Animal Well, and we're going to start scribbling a whole bunch of stuff down in this game. Okay.
Now, are we talking like 90s era puzzles or?
No, I feel like when I think of like 90s FMV or like point and click adventure puzzles, I always think of like, those are kind of maybe the good ones, but I always think of like the worst of the worst, where it's like, how was I supposed to know how to solve this puzzle? Like, what is this puzzle even doing? Nothing has really felt like that so far. So this game has been reviewing really well. I take umbrage with a lot of coverage of this game, and I'm kind of running out of patience with this, of people talking about puzzle games in general, of like, it made me feel really dumb until I felt really smart. We have to find a different way of talking about puzzle games than that. I'm like really out of patience with that. That's not the game making you feel dumb, it's just you haven't put the solution together yet. Like,
you're not in the right frame for referencing what you need to be doing.
Right, or you don't have all the pieces to the puzzle. You don't have like I'm running into all these posters in the game that have been shredded, and you're putting them into the proper order to make the poster look how it's supposed to be. And then when you do, there's a bunch of paint lines on it. I don't know where those lines are going to lead me to. Like, I don't know where I'm supposed to put that stuff into, but the game isn't making you feel dumb. I don't know where I'm supposed to put the solution into yet. I just solved a puzzle to get a solution that I'm probably going to use in a different puzzle. Like
Did you try putting it in the toaster?
I've not run into a toaster yet, but we'll see.
Did you try gluing the fire to the toothpick and then sticking it in your face?
Thankfully, there's nothing of that. So it's been really interesting, kind of exploring this area and like picking up a bunch of books that have like dozens of pages in them that are all super well written about this magician and his downfall of when he started a film company. He had to make a bunch of terrible films. And I'm like, cool. I know I'm going to have to use this somewhere. So I'm going to have to put in the back of my mind, all right, this filmmaking magician. All right, we'll figure that out at some point. And that's kind of where I'm at this point. Like I've run into a bunch of like document tubes, those like leather long document tubes you put like architectural drawings into. Run into a bunch of those. I only now just found essentially the book that has all the puzzles that leads to the solutions for those document tubes. And I'm like, you have that great aha moment where you're like mentally scooping up all this stuff. You're like, yeah, document tubes, and here's this picture, and 20 different locked doors, and a bunch of shortcuts. Yeah, great. And I love that moment where you pick up a book, and you're like, oh, the names of this are the names on this. Okay, so I gotta figure out the puzzle on this to put the code into the document. Okay, all right, cool. Now I've got like one more kind of objective to go chase down. So far that's been really great. I really, really like this game. Has two really great systems that I like in it. One is everything you run into that's sort of like, you go open the east wing kitchen door because it's locked. You just write that down in a notebook that the character carries around. So you kind of have this ever-growing list of, here are all of the objectives you need to go do, even if you don't know how to even begin to start doing those. And then when you complete one of them, it crosses it off inside of the notebook itself. Cool. So I really like that you have this, without having to write it down yourself. You're kind of gathering all this stuff. And then there's a item in the menu called photographic memory. And everything that your character has looked at or read or picked up at any point goes in that menu, and you can just reference it and look at the entire thing at any time. So it's not like, oh, I need this book about the magician to find something on page 5, but where did I leave that book? Like what wing of this hotel was that book in? It doesn't matter. You have that at all times on your character. So I appreciate that. As much as they're leaving all these puzzles in the game and making this primarily a puzzle-focused game, it's not impossible. It's not this kind of mean, like, well, I hope you remember where you left that one poster, because you're going to need the third word on the 5th line. They don't do anything like that. My only frustration with this game so far is controls. And it's not me playing this on the Switch thing. For once, it's not a Switch controls thing. It is that every button on the controller does the same thing, which is it's essentially like the A button or the X button on a PlayStation controller. It is your accept button. Even like A, B, X, Y, all the shoulder buttons, everything, they all do the same thing. That makes it really frustrating when you're like in your menu in the, reading one of the books, and you hit B to get out of the book, which usually works. But then you hit B to get out of the menu, and it opens the book back up. You actually have to navigate to the back arrow or the X button or whatever's in that menu to then get to the point where you can leave that menu. That feels pretty frustrating. I feel like that's not normal video game thing. You select with A, you back out with B. So sort of breaking that convention feels a little bit frustrating. I'm sure it's one of those things that I'll get used to and have the handle on after a couple more hours, but when I'm trying to solve a puzzle and I'm trying to like scribble all this stuff down in my physical notebook, it's a little bit frustrating. But other than that, having a blast so far. I wish I'd play more of it this week. Number one, I'm just playing a lot of Pacific Drive. Number two, I'm under the weather, which isn't the best time to be playing this kind of cerebral, every screen has 10 puzzles on it sort of thing, which is why I haven't played a lot of Animal Well either. It's just a lot of like, okay, sure, you have a lot of puzzles, okay. But I'm enjoying it a whole lot, and I really like the idea of this this game just being non-stop puzzle after puzzle after puzzle, which I think is really cool. So hopefully I'll have more to talk about it this upcoming week, but that's Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, which I picked up on Switch. It's on Switch and PC. I wish it was on more stuff, because I'd like to play it on my platform of choice, but we'll see. Maybe sometime. But that's all I'm playing this week, so let's take a break.
Yep.
Man, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Pizza. I just want to lay down. How many?
Damn,
releases?
we got a ton of releases.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip the news stories this week because neither of them are super interesting. I'd rather get to the questions.
Sounds good.
Roger that.
Let me make sure I have all the trailers here. Alrighty.
I'm so glad we stopped getting RPG releases for a while now.
Yeah, but now we got like 15 incredible indie Game of the Year contender games all came out all at the same time last week.
Indie.
Yeah, dude.
Especially since a lot of
play
these,
all of this.
Well, especially since a lot of the indie games seem to be a lot shorter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Little Kitty Big City is like less than 5 hours.
Yeah,
probably more if you're doing all the side quests and the achievements and stuff. But like, just getting back to your apartment seems like it'll be pretty short, which is cool. I'll take a short game. I don't mind. Yeah.
I'm very disappointed because I was listening to a podcast and someone mentioned a game that was in the Xbox like Next Fest demos like a couple of years ago, and I was like, that sounds cool. Let me just do a quick look for it. And the demo came out on the Xbox. The game never did.
What? Lame.
Which was very confusing.
What game is it?
I'm trying to remember the name of it right now.
Star Wars 1313.
No.
Overpass Rhythm Road Trip.
Oh, I thought that came out on...
Nope.
That's surprising. Rhythm Road Trip. Yeah, because this is...
on Steam. I think it's on Switch. Sure as hell ain't on Xbox.
Yeah, I thought this was...
Yeah, but the superior console.
Well, and it felt like it was like an indie showpiece there for a little bit.
It was.
Like, here, more indies are coming to Xbox.
And it was on the whatchcolor. It was literally part of the demo fest, like the thing they do when they showcase a bunch of indies coming to the Xbox.
I wonder if it's just
like,
too small. Too small of a team. They couldn't justify the bringing it to anywhere else. That's a bummer.
No idea.
All right, you guys ready to do releases?
Yeah,
sure.
All right, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of May 20th, 2024. Paper Trail comes out PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series Console, Switch, PC, iOS, and Android. It's a really neat-looking puzzle game where you're kind of folding the sides and the edges of a piece of paper to make the puzzles happen on the screen. So it's I really recommend checking out a trailer because that makes it sound pretty simplistic, but it's kind of neat to see. You like there's an impassable chasm there. You fold the paper over, the character walks across it, and you unfold it, and they're across the chasm.
So it's a game about making wormholes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. I wish I could remember because the trailer that you're showing for this very much reminds me of that game I played on the Xbox. That had like the which one? Huh?
Carta?
I don't know.
Oh. That was the one that reminded me of it, where you're like building the world out of the like tetraminos.
No, not that one.
Oh.
The one where you like you had a 3D like look. It was a 2D platform, but you had like you could go into the pictures and then move something in the pictures, and then when you move the other pictures next to it, it had an effect. Now you know what I'm talking about, and now you don't know the name either. Sorry
yeah, because it was a mobile. That was another Annapurna game. I think it started with it started with a G. I remember.
I'm pretty sure it started with a G. I did just look for a Golgotha because that was the first thing that popped into my head. That's a horror game, apparently.
Okay. I'll have to
folding in a different way.
I'll have to look that up because that's gonna bother me. It's a game name I always forget. I'm always like, oh, the four pictures moving in and out of them. Yeah, that game.
Yeah, I'm already looking.
Yeah. Oh man. So that is Paper Trail. Next up, we have Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 coming out for series, consoles, and PC. This is on Game Pass day and date. I feel like I still don't know a lot about this game.
There hasn't really been a whole lot.
No, like, so far a lot of the trailers have so far been like, hey, look at how cool this game looks. And like, look at the incredible kind of face animated tech we have, but I'm not sure what else.
Honestly, like, I feel like a lot of people didn't know anything about the first game going in, though.
Yeah. Did either of you guys play that first game?
I played a
always
little
on
bit
my to-do list. I never did.
I played maybe an hour or two. I fell off of it. I didn't really enjoy it, but
yeah,
it looks pretty though. Like some of this stuff looks like it's movie quality almost.
Yeah. I just wish that there had been really any marketing for this game.
I think that's a lot of the blowback that we've had with Microsoft recently that I've heard a lot of people talking about. It's like this game's coming out this week and there's barely been any mention about this game.
Right.
So
I mean, thankfully it's on Game Pass, so hopefully that will lead a lot more people to actually pick it up, but
I know the first one was. I don't know if it still is or not, though.
It is. They own the studio.
It? Okay.
Oh, yeah. So it'll probably stay there for quite a while.
Because I think this is Ninja Theory, who owned by Bethesda, who are owned by Microsoft.
Begat this studio, begat that studio.
Yep.
Yeah. Next game here is System Shock, the remake that came out a couple years ago on PC. This comes out PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Series consoles. People seem to
we need
really
to talk about this.
Yeah.
I have no experience with the Shock games other than the ones that you know I have played. Mm-hmm. I never played System Shock. I barely played Deus Ex.
Well, good news, because I think System Shock is still free on Steam. The original.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm not going to play a game where I have to, like, crouch and lean, like, put my foot out, that kind of way.
Do the hokey pokey.
Why are we talking about this game, then?
Because I want to know if I should play this game. Is this a game worth my time as, like, a remake of a legendary classic?
I feel like what they... From what I heard...
I do like that kind of game, for the record. I love the Bioshocks.
You're like immersive sim sort of things.
That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. Thank you.
I from what I've heard of people that have played both versions, they played the 94 one and then the 2022 one, is that Night Dive did a really good job of modernizing System Shock so it plays like something you would play today without kind of losing the spirit of the original game. So I think if you've ever been interested in System Shock, it sounds like this is really the one to check out, especially on consoles. So it's supposed to be really great.
I mean,
go
you
ahead.
enjoyed BioShock, yeah? I mean, maybe not all the story, but
I love BioShock. BioShock 2 is the superior BioShock. Don't at me, folks.
That's right.
That's just a fact.
That's because you're correct.
Yeah, so there you go. I mean, if you enjoyed the mechanics, from what I remember, because it's been years, it's pretty much the same mechanics.
Right.
So just a different layout.
Yeah, you might like this game. Might be worth a shot. See?
A lot of hemming and hawing because it's been a while since any of us have played.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. Next game here, X Defiant, comes out on PS5, Series consoles, and PC. This is Ubisoft's new free-to-play first-person shooter thing that I've seen a bunch of footage of this over the... it's been an open beta for maybe like 2 years now or something. It's always looked pretty cool. It's like a team-based kind of modern day first-person shooter thing that looks pretty neat. I'm a lot of people that have been playing it have spoken pretty highly of it, but I'm not really sure what differentiates this from anything else. You look at a game like the Finals, and that kind of, it's easy to see how it's different from other stuff, but I'm not sure how this one is different sort of overall. But people seem to really enjoy this one. So check out X
Oddly
Defiant.
enough, got like an old school UI too.
It really does,
like
yeah.
It's like massive health bar and like big like match numbers on the top. It's like,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Next game here is Duck Detective: The Secret Salami, coming out for Switch and PC. I've been watching this for a while because the developers have been posting really cute GIFs of this game on Twitter, and that's exactly how you get me to play your adorable sort of papercraft duck detective game. This seems like a really cool, kind of straightforward, shorter point-and-click adventure puzzle game that seems like it's not meant to be the the worst brain-bending puzzle game of all time. It seems like it's a more friendly, kind of lighter lifting one, which I think is cool. I like the idea that we're getting way more puzzle games out instead of just like, this one's 200 hours and you need to have a knowledge of quantum mechanics to even finish the first level. Nothing like that. So
did you see the update notes they made after multiple requests of playtesting? So again, it was a GIF I saw on Twitter posted by the devs. I was like, yeah, after much request during playtesting, we added a quack button.
That's really good. You need a quack button. If Untitled Goose Game has shown us anything.
And Little Kitty makes the same thing. There is a meow button.
That's true.
Game.
Yeah, you just hit Y and you can meow.
Yeah, you need an animal noise button every single time.
That's right. Next game up here is Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door, coming out on Switch. This is a remake of the second Paper Mario game that everybody really seems to love, and they're super pumped about this remake, and I never played the original. That's one that just completely passed me by when it came out. I talked about this a little bit on Pup. I'm really curious to see what the reviews are for this when it comes out, because we're in the phase of this remake being shown where diehard fans are upset that Nintendo has made
the exact same.
No, they made even the smallest changes to this game, even when it's in the excuse of having like better quality of life upgrades. So I'm curious to see this game come out and see people review it and talk about, is it actually good or did they completely break it? It's probably going to be really good, just kind of quality of life to up a little bit. So
Mhm.
And last game here we have in our releases, World of Goo 2, which is a game that number 1 I forgot had been announced, and number 2 I forgot was coming out. This comes out on Switch, PC, and OS X. If you never played the original World of Goo, it's like a 2D puzzle game where you're kind of using these blobs to make bridges and platforms and things of that nature. So it's like kind of a physics puzzly thing. Kind of think about like a Bridge Constructor before that game came out. And you have a pretty good idea of what World of Goo 1 was. Looks like 2 is kind of taking that formula and extending it here. And it looks pretty cool. I'm hoping that comes to more stuff, because I think more games like this could be pretty cool. So that's World of Goo 2. Got a couple releases here on Game Pass. Chance of Sonar came out last week, I think it was. Same with Immortals of Avium, came out on EA Play on Game Pass. Galacticare, which seems to be a sci-fi tinged kind of theme hospital, 2-point hospital, which looked kind of neat. And then Haunty, which I think is how you pronounce it. It's Hauntii. Really stylish looking, kind of more friendly 2D top-down puzzle game kind of thing. I recommend checking out a trailer for that. PlayStation Plus, like we talked about last week, they have their extra and premium free games that are coming out this week. Red Dead Redemption 2 comes back to PS Plus. The Sims 4 City Living, I wanted to call that out because I bought this for Sims 4. I had a lot of fun with this one. You get a whole different area where you get to kind of hang out in a downtown city area. You get to buy apartments and furnish those and stuff to a bunch of different city jobs. I thought that one was really cool.
Oh, so PlayStation Home?
Yeah, exactly. PlayStation Home coming back again, this time in Sims 4. I don't know how to talk about Crime Boss Rockay City, 2023's most maligned game featuring literally every action star on the face of the planet.
And everyone forgot about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cat Quest 1 and 2 are coming to PS Plus, kind of ahead of the Cat Quest 3's release. And then Watch Dogs came out, which, if you haven't played Watch Dogs, go play Watch Dogs 2. Now, you don't really need to know what happened to the first one. Don't worry about it. It's not as good as Watch Dogs 2. And then stop there, because the third one wasn't as good as 2 either. So you don't need to finish any of that stuff. All right, we're going to skip news stories here because a lot of them aren't super interesting. Let's move on to questions. First question here from Bilsford. What is a game that you haven't played in ages and view through rose-colored glasses? Would you ever go back to it, or is it better left in the past as a good memory?
Boston, what's that roguelike I keep talking about all the time? The one from the PlayStation 1?
Unlosing...
No,
Devil
not that one. That one's a classic. The one where it's Pokemon roguelike. You know the one I'm talking about.
Sorry for the dead air. I don't remember. Oh, it's not Azure Dreams, because that's a different one.
Is it? Is it not? No,
Moon's gonna look it up here.
I was like, he's got to look up the game that he's thinking of.
Okay, number one. Let's talk about that puzzle game we were talking about earlier. Gorgoa.
Oh, dude, it is Azure Dreams.
Okay, Azure Dreams. The game you were thinking about, Moon, is Gorgoa.
That's the one. I was close.
Gorgoa.
I was very close.
Yeah. My kind of knee-jerk one that I'm worried about is like my recommendations for starter JRPGs. Like, is Candy Quest or Costume Quest still good? Is the first Super Mario RPG still good? And like not the remaster one? Yeah. Are any of those games that I'm like, yeah, you should definitely try some of these guys. Are those still good?
Especially, yeah, Costume Quest still is.
Oh, okay.
Because I've played that recently with my kids, and we, especially the second one, got absolute joy out of candy corn.
Right.
Because candy corn don't care.
Candy corn does nothing.
Yeah. Candy corn contemplates life.
That's right.
So yeah, those are still pretty good.
I've got a big one for you. I actually don't. I worry that if I go back, they're nowhere near as good as they should be.
Oh, okay.
Any BioWare game.
Oh, Moon.
Those always start out rough, though, no matter which one.
Every Dragon Age, every Mass Effect, they live in my head rent-free forever.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of them are good.
Would you recommend, for Mass Effect, since you brought it up, would you recommend playing the original Mass Effect or the remake because they added all the quality of life stuff that made it play like
the
2?
Remake. I started it and got like maybe 25 minutes into it and then stopped playing it. So I'm not 100% sure, but you always go for the more modernized version of it. Like, it's just going to be easier to digest that way.
Well, I don't know, because I wouldn't, like, if we, like, Final Fantasy VII, I wouldn't tell people to play the new modernized versions
That
of
is
it.
a different game, though.
That's they
pulled. But I'm just saying,
they pulled a bait and
within
switch
that
on that
perspective.
one.
Yeah, but keeping it within that perspective, though.
It's especially...
You've also got to take into account, though, look at the inventory system in those games. They were garbage, dude.
Right, and like I think that's the big question too, especially with Mass Effect 1. Even when it was released, everyone was sort of like, yeah, this is really great, but there's a lot of stuff that is pretty frustrating. And I think the thing that seemed to be really impressive with the collection that they came out with, that not only did they make it look better, but they fixed a lot of the quality of life stuff, mainly focusing on, hey, 1 was kind of a bear to play. Let's kind of smooth a lot of those rough edges.
Let me put it this way and see if you guys agree.
Okay.
Mass Effect, the original, is basically Alpha Protocol in space.
I mean...
Yeah, it's got the same hit system and everything.
I mean...
Yeah. You're not wrong. That's one of the reasons why Alpha Protocol not selling well is such a huge disappointment.
Yes,
granted,
absolutely.
It was also full of so many more bugs than Mass Effect, shocking as that might seem.
Super weird, but
man, if there's ever a game that really needs like a
remaster,
a light remaster to kind of introduce it in the time where it would really be appreciated, is really Alpha Protocol. That's a game I haven't gone back to play in a really long time.
We all have gone.
I hope it's still good.
Yeah.
Like, I know it was the roughest of rough edges, but I hope that game's still good.
And that's kind of why I brought that up too, because I was just thinking that it's like, if that ever got a remake, I would want it to just bring it up to like 4K.
Right.
Don't touch any of the systems. Don't modernize anything, because that's where the joy came from.
Fix a couple of the big bugs, but maybe not the small ones.
I mean,
yeah.
If you're going to go down that road, do you know who made Alpha Protocol? And speaking of people whose libraries are gold rose tinted as hell.
It's Obsidian.
It's Obsidian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course it was, because it was Obsidian broken.
Yeah.
Just like Fallout New Vegas, which, for the record, I love Fallout New Vegas. Fallout New Vegas is a fantastic game. Genuinely one of the best Fallout games ever made, in my opinion. Go look at what's that guy who made himself famous at the start of this year by dropping the plagiarism video? A H-Bomber guy.
H-Bomber guy.
Go look at H-Bomber guy's like breakdown on Fallout New Vegas. Like, it is a genuinely incredible breakdown.
His videos are so good.
It's a superb breakdown. At the time that thing came out, I adored it so much that I beat it and I gave my dad the game to play because I knew my dad would love it. My dad did not have his Xbox connected to the internet. He could not play the game because it broke 4 minutes in because he couldn't patch it. So I had to go and pick up his Xbox, take it to my house, plug it in, download the updates, and give it back to him for him to be able to play that game. That's a problem, folks.
Yeah. Playing that game, it broke me. I was doing the Ranger's Path, I think it was. And I got to the second to last mission, and it broke. And I could not proceed with that path, so I had to pick a whole different path so I could beat the game.
I really wish they would do a remake of that. I know they won't, because it's an Obsidian game, and that's like persona non grata for in Microsoft for some reason. But I've never played that game. I've played all of the rest of the Fallout games. I haven't played the best one that I would love the most. And I know you can like get it on PC and download 400 mods and do all this stuff, but that's like not really what I'm looking for. I'm looking to play it on PS5 with a controller and like have a bug fixed experience if that's possible.
Well, and with a lot of people too, since the Fallout series, since we're already on Fallout, the Fallout TV show has come out. It's all of a sudden reignited interest in everyone going back and replaying 3 and 4.
Right.
Which a lot of people are like, 3 really wasn't that bad. And it's like, 3 was fun. The story was fine. A little janky, but it was fine.
Right.
4 is the one that everyone...
Too, but
4 was the one that everyone got on the hate train for, and I wasn't really sure why, besides it being Bethesda broken. But
I've been thinking a lot about Fallout 4 as I've been playing Pacific Drive, and I think for a lot of people, including me, the settlement, management, and building stuff was just like a level of that game that I didn't want to do. Like I don't this is not what I'm here. I'm here to just go in the wasteland and run into wacky stuff and shoot a bunch of ghouls and make friends with some horrific monster and they're my best friend. Like that's what I'm looking
I liked
at.
the idea of being able to make your own base, especially when we were, because before 4 came out, we were all playing Shelter. Well, most of us were playing Shelter on our phones. So I liked the idea of being able to build a base, but I wish it was like a vault base.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the same thing for me. I never really got into that, but my wife, like I cleared out the first area. I forget what it's called now. But like my wife absolutely loved it. Like she went through and picked up that whole neighborhood, set up everything. I set up turrets and stuff so she didn't have to worry about monsters or anything coming in. And she just completely rebuilt that neighborhood. She spent hours on that. So
that's cool.
And then I would every time, and it would be fine because I'm the idiot that goes through and picks everything up. So she never ran out of resources.
Oh, right. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there's a bunch of games that that are like that for me with rose-tinted glasses of just like... Are half of the games from my childhood any good? Probably not. But, you know, Moon's finding that out as part of the Genesis collection you're going through. Just like, boy, Decap Attack, huh? And it's like, it's bad. I loved it, but it's bad, man.
Alex Kidd in Miracle World is probably trash, but I played that game so much that I loved it. Like,
because that's all you had.
I Stockholm Syndrome myself into that thing.
Right, I borrowed it from Blockbuster, and this is what I got to play nonstop for about 2 or 3 days. Of course it was great.
Yeah, and a lot of stuff from, like, the PlayStation 1 era. Like, I absolutely love Final Fantasy VII. I'm the biggest fanboy for that game. Would other people...
Disgaea is disappointed in you right now.
Oh, no, I can have multiple fanboys, because Disgaea 1 is absolutely great.
Yeah.
But, like, Final Fantasy VII would be a real tough sell nowadays, just because it was a different... Like, games were different back then.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I look at that Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII remake on my Xbox, and I think, maybe I should. I should.
Doing
Those
it with
remasters
that, where you
are
have
good.
the built-in... Yeah, with the built-in cheats, where you have, like, the God mode and the faster time and all that stuff.
4 times
that
speed.
Makes it... that makes it a lot better. But it, like, if I was just to hand you like my copy of Final Fantasy VII back there and be like, "Here you go,"
right?
I don't think a lot of people would be able to get through that. But I could over and over again.
Right.
Most people wouldn't know how to change the discs, dude.
That's true.
Yeah, that would be the best thing to watch. So wait, I don't turn it off, or I do turn it off? It's like no,
or I don't.
Yeah.
No.
Another one that I was sitting here thinking, like Parasite Eve. It's like the first one.
Right.
Yeah.
You could go back and play, and that would be fine. The second one, because they had tank controls.
I love the second one.
I don't. The second one is fine, but because it has tank controls, I think that would throw off people so bad, right? Yeah, and even the original Resident Evil games, I think that would throw people off.
And that's why I've been really happy about Crow Country, the indie game that just came out. That only has tank controls, and you can't change the controls to be anything else, because it's kind of like a Resident Evil 1 PS1 homage.
Yeah.
Like, that's had such a great reception to it. And I was really surprised, because I thought a lot of people would poo-poo the tank controls, being like, games don't play like this. Like, what are you talking about here? It's like, that's part of the tension of the survival horror of those genres is I can't do a quick 180 to shoot this thing that's coming at me. Like I gotta try and turn as fast as I can.
Unless you're playing Resident Evil 3 and you push down on the analog stick and what was it, R1 or something, and you could do a 180.
Yeah. I got two which are basically the same game but different eras. And I really, really want to go back and play them. I also don't feel like I can emotionally. I also want new ones to come out, but I don't feel like I can deal with it emotionally. And that's Siphon Filter and Splinter Cell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, what an era of games.
Yeah. I mean, Siphon Filter, let's face it, the best thing about Siphon Filter was you could hit someone with a taser until they set on fire.
Yeah.
Like, that was the best thing about that game. Easy.
But it's still so surprising to me in the era of things
remakes
like
and remasters.
Among Us and Lethal Company and these kind of like streamer-friendly and multiplayer-friendly games. It's boggling to me that they don't have a multiplayer-only Splinter Cell spin-off.
Spy v Spy? Yeah,
the like Spy v Spy.
Spy v Max is what it was.
Yes, that's it, yeah. It boggles my mind how much
so good.
of a free win that would be for like $10 on Steam that runs on anything just to have a Spy v Mercs thing. That would light Twitch on fire.
It was so good, dude.
It's so good.
It was unreal how good that was.
Well, the fact that they both played completely different. Like, Mercs played as like 100%. An FPS, and Spies played like you were playing Splinter Cell with a third person. You can climb through vents and stuff and set traps.
That tension and that nervousness of doing like the wall jump split, where you're doing like the half splits against the wall as a merc walks underneath you and you hope they don't look up.
Yep.
It was unreal how tense that was.
So good.
Man.
All these should be left better in the memories, by the way, to answer the second part of the question.
Yeah, most of those are. Plus, like, especially with this year with, like, Indie Palooza happening here in May, like, I have so many incredible, like, $10, 5-hour games to play.
Yeah.
It's everything, dude. Like, there is, like, so much content, not even just video games, just hashtag content coming out all the time from every direction in every format.
Just add it to a spreadsheet, you'll get to it.
I can't even stay up to date with things that came out this year, let alone things that I want to go back and play from like years gone by.
Yeah, people are like, "Hey, have you watched Fallout?" And I was like, "I haven't even watched Twisted Metal yet. I'm not even there. I'm not ready."
I was another one that I think would. Oh god.
I bought a bundle from Itch recently. And it's 13 pages of things I'm never going to touch.
Right.
But you own them.
If we get to it on Game Club, you'll say, "Oh, yeah, that's right. I do own Gorgoa. Let's go play it."
Yeah. I own a Show Hike again, by the way.
There you go.
Part of that
what's a fourth copy?
And the worst part is I was like, yeah, I'll buy this bundle and give someone my code. And it was just a bundle with direct downloads, none of the codes. I was like, damn!
Biscuits.
One thing that I think fits really well in this was the first Assassin's Creed online multiplayer.
Oh, that one was so good.
Oh,
where you're pretending to be an NPC.
Literally Among Us.
Yeah.
It's the wolf game. It's literally a wolf game.
Yeah.
I think that is one of those things that it was so new and different at the time. And it was really fun to play.
Yeah.
But I think if we all went back to that now, we'd be like, what is what is that?
Part of the problem with that is they had to have the progression system in and they had to have the unlockable skills. And at certain points, some of those unlockable skills just broke the game. So if you were playing with really high level people, you didn't stand a chance.
It was that era of multiplayer games. It was Dead Space 2, Mass Effect 3, and Bioshock 2, where it's like, these don't need to have multiplayer modes in them. What are you even doing? And you play them and you're like, oh, no, these are actually really good. Like, this is, wow, you guys, they forced you to put a multiplayer mode in here and you cooked something good. Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's move.
Going back to all of those, though, they would probably all suck. But if they remade them, they'd probably be great.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Let's move on to T-Bomb Rock's question here. Afternoon of goodness, crew. As someone who likes to spend money on things I don't really need in the world of video games, I have 2 questions. Favorite video game peripheral that is not just a standard controller, and most extravagant peripheral purchase. Have a great rest of your day.
Elite 2.0 is probably my most extravagant, or the most expensive, I should say.
But I feel like that's a daily driver controller. It's not like, oh, I'm playing DJ Hero, so let's break out the DJ Hero controller.
I was gonna say my Thrustmaster 4 that's still sitting here for Elite Dangerous.
That's
that
right.
I can also use on PC. Yeah.
Right.
So that's the scary part for me. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I deliberately
Thrustmaster
avoid.
is so awesome.
I deliberately
keep looking
avoid buying anything.
I know, because I keep looking at like that stupid Warthog one that's PC only. That's like $500, and I'm like, one day,
One day, my Hotas beauty.
Yeah, so probably one of the things that inspired this was Justin sent me a screenshot of there was a wireless flight controller yoke that looks like is getting released.
Okay.
And it's got the throttles, but it looks like an airplane handle like yoke kind of thing. I was like, no, dudes, don't send me this.
Don't show me this,
like,
man.
Like, I don't need to. Because the
Flight
problem
Simulator's
is I
on
don't
Game Pass. Leave me alone.
I don't have enough room on this desk. I don't know my keyboard well enough to play with like a
Moon,
headset
we can
on or
get you the
anything like
attachments where they clamp to the bottom of your desk so that you can rest your.
No, stop. No.
Like, I don't need that. I also don't need like a steering wheel for the Formula One or Forza games.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
So that's the funny thing is, like, I recently played I can't even remember what it was, but I was playing a game with driving in, and I hated it because I didn't have such finesse control that I have in my actual car with a wheel. I was like, maybe I should get a wheel. No,
stop it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I see people like post videos of like they pulled out like this Ford GTO dashboard and they have it all set up in their living room like it's an actual like 4 massive screens in front of it, and it's like or like even like the semi trucks, like the people who play Trucking Simulator, and they basically pulled the cab of a truck into their garage, and they're like, "Yep, this is my rig."
I gotta give him credit, man. You're going all the way. You're living your dream, man. I feel like the majority of the peripherals I've bought, like I haven't even bought the PlayStation Edge controller because that's too much money for like not a. You look at the regular Xbox controller and you look at the Elite, and there's kind of an upgrade.
It's a bit
there.
of a jump.
Yeah, it's a pretty clear, even on paper, it's a pretty clear upgrade. When you look at the DualSense and then the Edge, not that big of an upgrade for me, even as someone who plays my PS5 literally every day. So like I usually don't buy those, but man, anytime like a musical game came out that had a controller on it, like my DJ Hero controllers, Guitar Hero and Rock Band, like I'm scooping up one of
Rock
those.
Band is right up there for me. Like I got the full big box set.
That band in a box kit.
Band in a box.
Yeah, that was the thing.
That was. That was.
The UPS driver
VR,
yelled at me
the
when
one.
they dropped off the band in a box kit.
how
Like,
heavy it
what
was.
did you buy, bro? And I was like, sorry, man. Anyways, bye.
There's a lot of
Hold on, I gotta
Nintendo
go
stuff
become a
too.
rock star.
Like with the Labo, Nintendo did like all the cardboard stuff that I did with my kids.
It's true.
Technically, all the amiibos behind me.
That's true. It's true.
Yeah, I mean, which one is my favorite? I don't know. I mean, probably the Rock Band guitars. I loved those controls. They were so snappy to feel with or to play with.
That probably gets my vote too. The Keytar was actually really good too. I didn't play it a ton, but like it felt really good and it felt kind of just big enough without being huge.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I would adore get a VR headset, get myself a HOTAS set up, and you know, play some Elite Dangerous for real. I don't know how I would do in VR. I have zero experience in VR, so I don't want to invest, you know, that amount of money unless I'm, you know, going to be able to use it.
Right.
Which would mean in order to test to see if I would, I'd need to buy one of the Hellscape items. You know which ones I'm talking about, because they're within the price range.
I feel for Elite Dangerous, you would be fine because you're piloting a ship, so you're not you're not physically moving. You know, it would be easier for you to mentally check yourself, and it's like, okay, I am sitting in a chair and I'm watching. Yeah, I'm watching things.
But that's the thing is, I'm not going to get a VR headset for one game. I'm going to want to do everything else.
I think
I'm going to want to play the rhythm game where you're a Viking on a ship hitting drums. That's the thing I want to play.
I thought you were going to say Beat Saber.
No, there's literally a rhythm game where you are a Viking in a ship hitting drums. I don't know what the name of it.
I love video games. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, I think
the worst part is it's meant to be incredible. Like, it's genuinely meant to be incredible.
I think the ones where you're not actively moving yourself, you'll be fine.
I know. With. The name is great. I can't remember what it was.
Ragnarok. ROCK.
Yeah, there we go.
You came up with the perfect title, man. That's really good. Oh my god. Okay. Yep, that's great. Ragnarok available on Steam right now.
And it's meant to be incredible. Like, legitimately one of the best rhythm games. I looked at reviews for it a while ago. I was like, don't tempt me.
Yep. Oh, they have a bunch of licensed tracks in here too.
Damn. So the best part about it is, like, your score is not based on how accurate you are. It's about how far you row down the river while you're playing. And to activate the star power by hitting a side drum, and that makes you row faster.
That's really clever. Good job, Ragnarok. I'm trying to think, though, of any like modern peripherals that I would really even be interested in. I feel like they're either VR or they're driving, like wheels. There's nothing else.
Technically, your Portal is a peripheral.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah.
But yeah, there's not... They haven't really come out with anything new.
No. I feel like after kind of Rock Band sort of sunset, after that Guitar Hero Live, I think it was called, that like just put the final nail in the rhythm game coffin for a really long time.
I want to say, and like all the Toys to Life stuff, that was all really cool stuff that like everyone just decided, there's not a whole lot of money in this, and then everyone except for Nintendo pulled out.
Yeah,
because like I still have like all the Marvel stuff, and we had just started getting into Lego Dimensions,
right? Like Lego Dimensions, Disney Infinity, and the Sky Blasters,
the Skylander thing,
Skylanders, yeah. Like those three all hit at the same time and were huge, and then all of a sudden they're just like, nah, we're done. Goodbye.
You're also forgetting about the Ubisoft one where you make the spaceship and you play with the spaceship that you make.
Oh, I have that back there. Yeah.
Yeah, my son has that.
I don't remember what it's called.
We got the Switch one because it came with the Star Fox.
The little, they just re-released that on consoles. Oh, they have a fun subtitle for it, which is basically like, you don't need the controller thing anymore. We just released it as like a regular video game now.
That's the thing. Like, he'll pull out the controller thing and just set it on his desk because he likes Arcwing. That's what it was called.
Right.
And it's the R-Wing. It doesn't have a C.
R-Wing?
Very much.
The R-Wing, yeah.
I called it an X-Wing to start with, so I was getting there. I was working my way down the alphabet.
Man, what was that? Oh, Starlink Battle for Atlas. That's what it was called. Yeah. That seemed like a really cool game. I'm trying to see if I can figure out what the other version of it was called, but I'll see.
Steel Battalion is still the one that got away from me.
I never bought it because it was too expensive.
And it's still expensive, and that's the only reason I still don't own it.
Yeah.
Because, my God, was that such a fun, dumb idea. The fact that you got a binder that walked you through how to initiate your mech, and if you skipped a step, it would stall, and you would have to restart the whole thing all over again.
Yep.
That's the kind of dumb stuff I'm here for.
So good. All right, let's move on to our final question here from Late Elf. Says, hey guys, it's been kicking around my head for a while, and I finally remembered to post in here. What's your favorite tangible video game merch? You don't have to like the game, but it can be soundtracks, plushies, or anything from Destiny 2. Nerf Galley and nearly anything in Boston's collection must need to be ruled out from the start.
He did say it can't be soundtracks, plushies, or anything, which is annoying.
Oh, sure. Sorry, it can't be soundtracks, plushies, or anything from Destiny 2, which is...
That's my favorite stuff right there.
Yeah, it's basically all of my shelf right behind me. which is a bummer.
Like I've got my giant Isaac plushies, which and Boston has his little minifigures that complement the people we played during Binding of Moonpier.
Right.
Yeah, I've got
also it's Starlink Battle for Atlas Digital Edition. It's a really great way of saying it's not the physical one anymore. Don't worry about that.
But yeah, I've got my Ghost of Tsushima teacup that I had to import from Japan, as well as the PlayStation teacup that was also imported from Japan.
I mean, hidden at the top shelf that you can't see at the back is a bunch of Disney Infinity figures, which I think are cool as hell.
The whole roll of figures on that bottom shelf are all Disgaea figures from all of the special editions.
I still have my Lahal and Etna somewhere on these shelves.
Oh, that's fun.
Because I had a friend of mine who, you get the blind boxes. They did, like, for Disgaea 1, they did a blind box series. Yep. So, dude literally just bought me the blind box. So, the box of blind boxes.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
That's where what was it? I think it was D2. If you pre-ordered that, they gave you a blind box. And mine came with 2, so I have duplicates. So I have like Laharl, Etna, Flan, Fallen Angel Flan, the general Prinny. So
gosh.
Yeah, it's like let me open up my closet over there and show you. I've got
I was gonna say, like, this closet I have over here is where all my collectible stuff is.
I probably shouldn't do this because I'm gonna summon a Louise. But right there.
Yes.
Oh, your little
that's my Lahals. My Lahal and it are on the top shelf now with my Isaac stuff. That's all my Disney Infinity people right there. I mean, does the Xenomorphs count because they're from a video game, technically speaking?
We can count it, sure. They're cool.
They've got the tall neck Lego set that I have up there.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I have mine up here too. The hard part for me is, like, especially because of my fundraising stuff around Destiny, I have so much Destiny stuff. Like, they just sent me a package of, it was a poster and a giant, the biggest mouse pad I've ever seen, and like a jersey and and another thing. And I was just like, here's like 4 or 5 more things for the kind of Destiny pile, which is like, that's why Late Elf kind of counted it out, but
called you out on it.
Yeah, like, it's fair. It's
also part of that is you get a bunch of stuff that nobody else would get or see, kind of thing. Like, I know you've got things for the game and in the game because of the good work that you do with Dad, whatever it's called, Destiny something
Emblem
or
Collector.
Like thank you.
The emblem I have equipped in the game right now, I'm one of 3 people that have it because we've raised that much money in the game. We've raised over $100,000.
Yeah. I was saying, somebody bought you like that 1-to-1 Thorn handgun.
Yeah, I have it up there. It's a little too high up for me to get right now, but big shout out to Jimbo for getting me that. And it's full metal. It's not 3D printed or anything, so it's pretty.
And we have,
very heavy.
Obviously, he already mentioned the galley. I mean, I can tell you what my favorite one is. I can easily my favorite one, and I can tell you exactly what it is and why. I can't see it right now because it's currently on that side of the room. I'm not going all the way over there. It's my Assassin's Creed hat.
Oh,
the gray cap you have seen me wear consistently on the show since the day I arrived. I bought that cap in like 2013. It has been through the laundry. It has been washed. It has been cycled. It has been lost. It has been found. It has been left in a cupboard for 6 years. Like, that thing has been through it all. And it, most importantly, it fits my big fat head, which is a problem.
Right.
I can't buy snapbacks. I cannot. Like,
I have a huge head
caps,
too. Yeah.
Like, I can't buy snapbacks. But that thing doesn't have a thing on the back. It's just one size fits all, and it actually fits me. It's durable. It can be cleaned, and the thing hasn't worn apart, worn away, or fallen apart, or anything. And I literally wear it on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
So my favorite one that I bought recently was from Sky Games, and that was when they remade all the Baldur's Gate stuff and released them on last gen Xbox. And I bought the giant mimic chest that came with like the squeezy skull and like the massive like cloth map, and it came with a set of metal dice and a beholder set and a little tray to roll your metal dice on. And yeah, that is safely placed over here.
Out of the way. I really wish I had opened up my closet so I could see, because like a lot of the stuff that I have in there are like my old big box games. Like I have Moon, I don't know if you remember Bullfrog's High Octane. Their like first person polygonal racing game they put out in like the late 90s.
I think so, yeah. It was like really early polygonal stuff.
It's very early, ran like trash, but like that's half of Bullfrog stuff is like we're shooting for the moon and didn't really make it, but it was cool. I still have the big box of that.
Enjoyed that may be bad to go back to.
Right, yeah, exactly. But I have like the big box of that, which has like holographic like glass shards on the front of it. I have all of my Blizzard collector's editions from like Diablo 2 all the way up until when they stopped making World of Warcraft collector's editions. So I have like a entire part of that. I have a lot of really cool. One of my favorite ones. I'll get to my actual favorite ones because I'm going to break the rules for Late Elf. I'm sorry. One of my actual favorite ones. I have never seen this again, but Squaresoft put it out in Japan during the PS1 era. It was when they put out that collection of Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6 for the PlayStation 1. Mm-hmm. They put it in this beautiful collection on the Japanese PS1 that had it looked like a bunch of water effects on the outside, and it just had like it had this thing you pull out and it unfolded, and it just had all 3 games in there with kind of beautiful disc art. I don't remember where I got it. Probably PlayAsia or NCSX maybe. But that's one of my amazing ones because there's some rare games I have in my collection, like Devil's Third for the Wii U. I have that sealed. I have a complete in box Chrono Trigger, which is still in really, really good shape. I have that. I have like a bunch of really rare ones. But that one's special to me because I don't know where I got it, and I haven't seen anybody mention it since.
I mean, that's part of my issue is like moving different countries. It's like I had to cut everything. Everything was gone essentially. Like I fit my life in 3 suitcases. Like that's where I kind of went to.
Right.
I was gonna say my Lunar 2 that I have back there. Anything working design from way back when, but I've got fun story about that. In middle school, I skipped lunch for months to save up my lunch money so that I could spend the $60 to buy that game. And I went to Babbage's every weekend to make sure that stupid game was still there, and I was able to finally buy it.
Oh, man.
And I still have it sitting right there. And that thing came with like a full-on metal pendant from the game.
Oh, yeah.
And like a bunch of stuff. Like the book is like leather-bound, gold edge laid.
Yeah,
with like
that
the
was
little ribbon bookmark.
Collector's edition.
Yeah, it was 100% worth not eating for months.
Right.
I will say one of my favorite things that I don't own. It's not mine. It was a gift. Was the Hex Totem from Dead by Daylight that I picked up a couple of years ago. And it's a little 3D printed hex totem. It's only about maybe the size of like one of my finger essentially, but it came with 3 LED miniature candles. Because when you're in the game, if it's an active hex totem or a boon, it's got a different flame that gets lit underneath it. So it came with like 3 different colors of LED candles that you could just perfectly slot into the bottom of it, and then that lights up the hex totem in whatever color it is.
That's pretty fun.
Really sick. But that's not like official merch. That's like fan made.
Right.
It was just amazing.
Yeah, my one that is my actual pick, at least until I get my physical reward from the Bungie Foundation someday. Is, and I'm going to break Late Elf's rules, and I apologize, is a Destiny 2 launch poster signed by the entire development team. I don't know where I got it. I keep forgetting about it because it's in my closet, and I keep stumbling on it every couple of months when I'm cleaning it. But that's got a whole ton of people on that poster, and it's still in really good shape, which is very good. I just wish I remember where I got it from, because it's official. It's not one of those like, oh yeah, it's printed, like whatever. Like a whole bunch of people signed it. I don't remember where I got it, but that's super cool.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for sending in questions. If you'd like to send in more questions, tvgpfans@gmail.com, or probably the best place is just the podcast questions channel on the Discord. You can find links to all of that over on tvgp.tv on the right-hand side of the page. Like we just talked about with the Discord.
I was just sitting here thinking, write in and ask us what our favorite video game memorabilia is, and then all three of us will dig through our closets to find a show and tell item.
Yeah, we'll do it again in a couple weeks after we do a show and tell. Actually, we should probably do that. I'll write that down.
Hey, I don't have enough anymore to do a show and tell. Everything I have is on behind me.
There you go. You can pull it out,
bring it to the forefront. Then
display it. Yeah. Like we just talked about with the Discord server, please go join over there. Like we've been saying, it's not the like a million messages a minute sort of place. It's a very chill, very cool place. Everybody there is part of the best community on the internet. Go hit us up on the YouTube channel. Link to that is on the right-hand side of the page as well. Go like, comment, subscribe over there. Anything that goes on the public feed has a video version along with it. This is really the only show that we live stream, so we can chat live with all of you fine people, but we shoot video for everything else over there, so you can get all of that. And patreon.com/E1M1.
One's our numbers.
Talked about all the cool audio you get at the top of the show. Remember, the $5 a month tier is the recommended one, not per episode or per week. That is per month. It is fun for a $5. If you can't support us financially, totally understand. Go, follow us on Twitch and YouTube. Go tell your friends, share on social media, review the shows anywhere you can. All of that stuff really genuinely does help a whole lot. And we really appreciate you listening, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.
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 Oh, man. Ready to go lay down. Doodle-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
Yeah, I'm gonna start yelling at my kids to stop slamming all the doors in the house.
Stop bumping into stuff. All right, Nimp. What are your titles?
I have a Migraine, Puppet Thanos, The Pain Comes with the Love, One with the House Cat, The Fox Jumps Over the Lazy Dog, and Made Me Feel Dumb Until I Felt Smart.
All right, Moon, what do you have?
Puppet Thanos, I Hate That Stupid Clown, Lies of 3.14, I Had to Hide It, Easier to Digest, and Disgaea is Disappointed in You Right Now.
Never.
I have The Umbilical Cord for Your House. I Just Don't Like Leaving. Puppet Thanos, Lies of 3.14, My Hotas Beauty, and Puppet... Oh, I wrote Puppet Thanos twice. Haha. Apparently that's the winner because I wrote it twice.
I'm fine
Apparently.
Yeah. That would,
Unless Moon's got one.
I think that would get my vote. For me, it's between Puppet Thanos and Lies of 3.14, but I think Thanos is a stronger one.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm ready.
So.
I'll circle it.
Of course you are.
Are you kidding me? I haven't been ready in months.
I know.
Had this one saved up.
And see, this is the trick: is when it's somebody else's title, it's easy to have something on the go.
That's true.
When it's your title, that's when it becomes difficult.
And also, I'm generally just tired, and I can't think far enough ahead.
That's true. I really want a hot dog. Just want to throw that out in the universe.
I almost swore then because now you're making me want a hot dog.
I know,
I literally got halfway through the F before I realized we're still recording.
Hot dog doesn't start with an F. I'm lying, it does. It's Frankfurter.
Oh, okay. I'm ready to go.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 865, or May 20th, 2024. Puppet Thanos.
Perfectly jiggly, as all things should be.
It brings a sense of balance.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching. We greatly appreciate it. We're all just going to go to bed. Bye.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I gotta make